Hello everyone, this is Ming Jong. Welcome to today's market analysis for the S&P 500 E-minis futures for the session of 31st of July. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the market recap from yesterday, plus 4 trade reviews. Yes, it's 4 trades in the 3 minutes time frame, which I will include the entry, exits, and the rationale behind. And those trades were initiated during the London and US sessions, and all of them are based on the spring type setup or the forced breakout strategy. So going forward, I will cover the bias, key levels, and also potential setup for the session later. All right, so let's just get started. So yesterday, S&P 500 futures had a very meaningful day. So why is that? As you can see it here, so we have a very long demand tail here, as shown in this daily chart, and that comes with the increasing of the volume. So yesterday was very interesting because just that we have a economic data coming out with the economic contracts nearly about 33%, and that's the steepest decline since 1947. So I think that's very meaningful, especially under this kind of the bad news and also showing up during the first hours of the price action. But eventually we have some kind of the supply absorption on the way up, and it closed near the high here. And another thing that stands out to me in this daily chart is definitely the position of the low here. So you can see that prior to this date here, so we have a low form around, I can't really see it clearly. I think this is around 3190. So, but anyway, just take a look at this 2 bar. If you still recall in my video on probably on this date, just about 4 or 5 days ago, I talked about this is the potential presence of the supply in this bar, and did actually confirm it on this day as well with this bullish bar. So a lot of the absorption actually happened around the same area, which is here. So I will elaborate a bit more in the hourly chart because it is a lot clearer there. So let me just get into the hourly chart. Okay, so this is the hourly chart of the S&P 500. So prior to that, so this is the US opening session, about 9:30 my time here. We see the rejection tail, strong rejection, and then followed by a break of this swing low. But eventually the next bar we have seen try to push it down lower, but actually fail. It attempt to touch the swing low or form near the prior absorption area around 3190, but it didn't manage to do that. You see that the low was actually a higher low than all this low here. All right, so prior to the US opening session, we have a kind of like a very mild reaction in the Asian session, and followed by relatively sharp reaction during the London session. So we have two kind of the segment here. One is the Asian type session. The other is the London type session, which is a lot sharper reaction. So at the US opening, we have attempt to rally up, but actually fail. So you see this rejection tail shows up, and then followed by this reaction and close below the prior swing low here. And subsequently, just after the just after the spring of this prior swing low, and we see some demand coming in as shown up here. So this is a demand, and subsequently we have a very nice rally up. But near the end of the session at around 2 a.m. and also 3 a.m. my time here, there is presence of the supply, which actually kept movement up. All right, so that is how it actually happening from the yesterday session. Let me just get down to the 3 minutes time frame because I actually had it's 4 trade reviews that I'm going to show you, and all of these trades are based on spring type of the setup, or you can call it the false breakout strategy. Because usually I trade a lot of this kind of the spring type setup or uptrust type of setup. It's just happen many times every day. You can see it pop up in a lot of the different kind of the instrument. So this is the S&P 500, and you can just find this kind of the setup almost every day, depending on the different session and also different time frame as well. All right, so this is these 2 trades were initiated during the London session. You can see that the first trade that I had here was actually on this bar. So that's somewhere around 5:15 my time here, 5:15 p.m. It's around 5:15 a.m. New York time. So the rationale or the reason behind the trade was actually based on a spring of the previous day low. So I have marked this up with the orange line here, the thinner orange line around 3120 here. So that was actually from previous day. So that's the previous day low here, as you can see it. So let me just highlight this. So this is actually the level that I base upon. So we can see that firstly we have a bit sharper reaction, and then followed by a bit mild reaction, then spring the prior uh, day low, and then followed by a reversal. So one thing to note is that we have a spike of the supply level here. So you can see that these 3 bars come with a lot of the supply. So what I would like to see is actually a commitment above the previous day low, which is this orange line around 3220. So that actually happened on this bar. So this is the demand bar that come in, push it up. So if we just compare this rally, it's kind of like the best rally that we have ever seen. But just because that we have seen this increasing of the supply level, I actually prefer to see a test on the swing down here. So I just assume that that's actually the test, but it's kind of like a very horizontal type of the reaction. And subsequently, I trade this breakout type of the reaction. So they actually confirm this reversal. So that's my thought at that time. And I actually anticipated the movement could actually at least touching around 3230 axis line. But obviously, you can see that it actually didn't. It failed to touch 3230, suggests some weakness ahead. So the first exit, or I just scale out partial from my position when you had this localized breakdown. So at the close of this bearish bar here, I just exited partial of my positions, and subsequently I still actually anticipate some kind of the continuation. I thought to myself, well, this is a strong rally up, maybe this is just a mild pullback testing this bullish bar, and it kind of like having this kind of the movement up. I just think like this possible, but unfortunately we do see a breakdown here. So we have this kind of the breakdown, and then followed by a weak rally. So it actually failed to commit above. So eventually it just failed. I just waited and let it stop out. So, I mean, this is one thing that I think I could improve regarding the exit, because just right after the failure to commit above, maybe somewhere around here or even slightly above, I can just exit my trade rather than waiting for a full -1 hour stop. So overall, I think the net reward to risk ratio for this trade, this entry here, was negative, because the gain that I had when I exited the long entry here was very little, probably around 0.4, and I took a -1 R loss. So probably the net reward to risk ratio is around minus 0.6. All right, so that was the first trade. And the second trade was actually another kind of the spring type of trade. So this time I based upon this swing low here. So we have a swing low form around 5 o'clock my time here. That's somewhere around 3215 level. So this time I see that we have a reaction with a 2 swing down here. But this time we have seen the supply has been decreasing. So compare it to the swing here. So obviously the supply has been decreasing here. And I just entered the trade right after the close of this bullish bar, because this bullish bar actually get back above the swing low position here. So I just enter a long position and ride it through to the prior exit level where the first breakout occurred previously. That's around 3227. So end up I have a reward to risk ratio around 1.7, which was not too bad. So these were the two trades that initiated during the London session. And subsequently, because I think just right after the news, then we have seen quite a lot of the volatility around. So especially during the opening session. So firstly, we have seen this kind of the continuation to the downside. So after I exit, it actually went into a range and followed by a reaction, weak rally up, and then followed by a continuation to the downside. So in terms of the volatility, it's definitely a lot higher, and you can see it in the increasing of the volume together with the price, the spread as well. So in this region, it's definitely volatile. But that actually presented quite a few of the opportunities for initiating a long entry. So why do I enter a long trade around 10:30 my time, about 10:30 New York time here? So firstly, the level that I based upon was actually based on this swing low here. So there was actually a swing low around 3205. So that swing low actually created during the London session. So it's about, yeah, European London session. So I just actually based upon that level. And what we can see is that we have a increasing of the volume to the downside as shown up here. And subsequently, we have a good rally up, actually just committed above this prior swing low at around 3205 level. But just because that we have a spike of this supply level from this swing down here, I actually anticipated another test of this prior swing, which actually happened here. And that comes with the decreasing of the supply level. So you can see that the supply level actually decreasing. But locally, we can see that the supply level also increasing a bit, which actually have another test come at this point here. So this is another reaction that actually tested the prior level here. But anyway, so this this entry was just right after the reaction as a test of this prior swing down, and right after the bullish candle at this point, after the close of the candle, because it actually committed above the level at around 3205, I just enter a long entry there. So we can see that the subsequently we have a good rally up and followed by a test here. So the test actually just coincide with this localized resistance support level. So it actually just committed temporarily down and then followed by a reversal bar here. So this is the actual reversal bar, which I actually add in more positions, because I just this kind of the reaction actually tested the prior low here. So I think this gives me more confirmation. And right after the confirmation bar or the reversal bar, I enter some more long positions. And eventually I just exited all my positions around 11:40 or 30 my time here, because it's kind of a bit late here. So the time stop loss actually about to kick in. And that level actually coincides with my previous exit level, which is around 3227 level. So overall, these two trades were very profitable. So the first trade was around 1.9, and the second trade was around 2.9. So overall, have a 3 winning trades plus 1 loss. So not too bad. All right. So I think I might just hurry up a bit since we still have a bit more to cover. So let me get back to the hourly time frame, and we can just talk about the current situation right now. So yesterday action was actually very bullish. So we have the supply absorption actually happened somewhere around the previous supply absorption area. So you can see that. So these were the level where previously have supply absorption happen as well. So just right after we have the reaction and dip below the prior swing low here, and then we see a very quick recovery to the upside, and then followed by this super bullish bar. I think that's probably related to the after hours earning from a lot of the big tech. So so far, I think we have seen a reaction down. So this reaction could be as a test of this big bullish bar, breakout bar. And subsequently, we are forming a bit of the consolidation here. So I think I actually favor to a long entry at the moment, but either way is fine, it's tradable. But for the bias for day trading today, I'm bullish. For long term, definitely still bullish. Nothing has changed. For the key levels that I'm watching, definitely the swing high level resistance will be around 3273. And for the immediate support level, I'm looking at still the axis line 3230 level as annotated in this orange line here, and followed by a lower level at 3190, which is still a very, very important level. I must emphasize that 3190 level is very, very important. So anything shown up here based on the price action is still relatively bullish. And for the potential setup for later session, I'm actually looking for long entry. So if you can just come back to have another test of this prior swing low and reverse, then this could present a good long entry. Otherwise, I think in the smaller time frame, about maybe 3 minutes time frame, it is currently forming a range in the smaller time frame. Maybe we can just trade it right after a breakout from this range. So that is a possible trade as well. So definitely depending on how you're actually reacting with the key levels. All right, so this is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it and get something out from my video. And if you find it useful, just click like and also hover to my name or picture to follow me. And do remember to subscribe to my channel so that you get instant notification of my future video ideas. So if you like the video, feel free to comment it below and tell me what have you learned. All right, so I will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend ahead. Bye bye.